generally like my bread and butter haircut, something that's quite manageable, quite easy for clients if they want to have kind of longer hair but not really do much with it. This is the ideal haircut for them. You can see I've kept my triangle section on top, profile section down the center. You can see I've kept a nice recession to recession line around the side, but then if we come to the back, you can see it's slightly dipped towards the end. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to start with diagonal back sections, which is going to build up graduation starting from the front of the head all the way back. As I get to this corner here, I'm going to start to over direct my sections into this corner just to build up a little bit of weight towards the back of the head to support all the hair that's going to come on top of the head. So I'm going to start with my sections at the very front of the head. They're going to be no bigger than a comb's width apart, and I'm going to start from the recession all the way down, taking sections 1 into 2, 2 into 3, 3 into 4 until I reach the corner point of the head, and then I'm going to start over directing. See what that's built up is that's built up a slight little bit of that graduation along there. So you can see the way is built up from the top of the head. It's keeping that square shape and it's allowing that to sit back nicely into this section here. So just keeping my sections only a comb's width apart, slightly diagonal. And you can see I'm also point cutting into that. The reason I'm point cutting is because I want it to be nice and textured. Just before I start this side, I just want to show you a technique that I use to just keep balance both sides and make sure they're even. Obviously here I don't have a mirror that I can bounce myself off or I can look at for balance. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comb all of this straight out, and using my comb, I'm actually going to place my comb on the top and just have a look at the marks on the top of the comb. If you have a wire spark, you can see the dots there, and they're going to tell me exactly where I need to be on this side. So sometimes we get confused in keeping balance on either side, and just to make sure that you're on track, just pull the hair you've obviously already cut out, measure it on this side, and then go back to this side, pull the hair out, check exactly where you need to be, and as soon as you see that, you know exactly what you need to take off. Again, from here you can see I'm going to start to over direct from the corner. So every section from here I'm going to drag it back into that corner, so that's going to build up the way as we over direct down into the center. We're starting to reach the back of the head. So as I reach the back of the head, what's going to happen is this is going to slightly cross over to the other section. So everything from here I'm going to take diagonally into that section, and that's going to leave a little bit of length at the bottom here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cross check that just to make sure it's all sitting in nicely. So after we've done our graduation on both sides, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow through the hair and just cross-check everything just to make sure that everything is in balance. So by doing that, all I'm going to do is scoop the comb up. I'm going to pull the hair back in sections, just check the end, make sure everything is in balance, and anything that's not, I'm just going to chop in, point cutting and just evening everything all out. Okay. So working with the back of the head, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this area down, I'm going to comb it into the side, and I'm going to continue my graduation that I've done on the side. So I'm going to comb each section into the end and just connect that. So I want this haircut to be connected. I don't want there to be too much disconnection in it. So starting from the back, I'll be able to connect that in and build up that shape. Okay, so we can see here our disconnection from the side and the length that was left in that triangle. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually start to connect that in. So using the same sections, you see I've split the back in two, and using them same sections, I'm just going to use the guide underneath that I've cut before and start connecting that in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a profile guide, which is just going to go from my radial right down to my nape, and that's going to give me my central point where I can connect the back of the head into the top. So I'm going to use that guide by taking it up and taking these sections out to connect it in. With my section I have previous, and you can see the disconnection there, and I'm just going to start to connect it. Oh, since you've been away. As I do that, you'll be able to see from the front section here that it's going to go slightly shorter. That's only because the previous haircut I did was obviously a textured fringe, which was taken up a little bit shorter. Your mannequin guides at home, they obviously won't have that length, so if you can use a triangle shape at the top, so where the top gets slightly longer, that will give you a nice quiff at the top of your pompadour. Obviously, if you've been using it before and it's been cut in a different shape, we're just going to have to kind of make use with that. So it is going to go slightly shorter, but we're going to use that in styling. Not every client will have the most perfect haircut when he first comes with you. So we're just going to have to start to use that shape and just change it a little bit visually. From that profile center guideline, I'm just going to push that to the right, and I'm going to start to use that as my guideline for the rest of the haircut, moving up in horizontal sections all the way to the front section. I'm then going to do the exact same by moving this section over to the left, starting at the back, working horizontal sections up to the front. Once I've done the body of the top of the hair, you'll see I'll have a slight disconnection on the side here. Okay, what I want to do is I'm just going to start to work into my graduation again, so keeping the longest point at the top I'm going to start to connect that into the sides just so there's no disconnection, so the haircut will sit a little bit more freely. Now that it's all connected into the sides and to the back, I'm going to start working visually into these areas by taking sections from the back and just chopping into it to give it that nice textured look. Now that my cut is connected, I've textured the back, I've taken the weight out of it. I'm going to start to work with my fringe. Obviously, because of the previous cut, the fringe isn't going to be the shape that I wanted it. It's probably going to be a little bit shorter. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray it down and I'm going to connect it into the sides. It might start to split as I style it, but I just want to give it that kind of lived-in feel and lived-in look that most of our clients will have. Towards the edges, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to use my feather razor again. So any of the hairs that you can see that are a little bit disconnected, I still want it to be lived in. I want it to have that kind of rough look, but I'm just going to even it out by using my feather razor so it's not too blunt. Our shape that we wanted from the start is put in. We have that nice bit of graduation. The haircut is all connected internally. Obviously the outside and the exterior is a little bit disconnected, but we're going to use that to our advantage in terms of styling and in terms of the way we want it to sit. So a little bit of sea salt spray into the roots. This is my round brush I'm going to use. It's a Denman brush, and I just find the bristles are nice and close together, so it really gives you a nice grip on the hair to be able to manipulate it. Whenever I blow dry and whenever I'm styling, I always like to start on one side, completely do that side perfectly, the other side, and then start from the back just to give that front bit a little bit of elevation and volume. As I get to the front section here, when I'm blow drying, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to blow dry down first before I lift up, and that's going to give the roots a little bit of volume in it before it goes back. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of this, just a pea-sized amount, and I'm just going to use it throughout the hair just to give it, just to take any of these frizzinesses away, or just to keep it in shape. Guys, thank you again. This was Isolation Lesson Classic Men's Haircut. It's the bread and butter haircut that I give most of my clients, and it's just a really nice haircut to give that doesn't take much maintenance, but looks really well when it's finished. I'll be back to you soon. Peace.